In this lecture, I will be discussing some of the basics of Maya, and I will also be going over the homework for the first section. And before we get started, you may be wondering, well, I learned how to use Blender in the animation class. Why am I using Maya in this modeling class? Well, one of the reasons is because Maya is the industry standard. It is one of the industry standards along with programs such as Mudbox, ZBrush, and Substance Painter, to name a few. And also, I want to make the transition as seamless as possible as I can. So, for when you go to college, you will have started out knowing Blender, of course, but if you go into it knowing Maya, you'll be ahead of the game, and your assignments will be that much better. So, without further ado, I'll get started here. I'll create a cube. Before I do anything with this, though, I do want to show you that, right now we're in the perspective view. It's spacebar, and you can choose from any of the orthographic views, which is quite a useful feature. You can even, if you hit right-click, you can even choose any of these here. I'm just going to go back to perspective since, we'll be mostly working with this. So anyway, I will add an edge loop, and that is Mesh Tools Edge Loop. I have created my own custom tool shelf, which I'll probably go over this towards the end, but anyway, I'm going to add this edge loop. And let's say the art director says, okay, yes, I like that, but then say, oh, he changes his mind and wants to get rid of this for whatever reason. Well, you can delete it. And let's say you go to right-click to change any of these. Vertex mode. You'll notice that these are left behind on top and bottom. So undo that, Control Z. To avoid that, you can do Control Delete, and now the verts are not left behind. Everything is as it should be. That is an easy mistake to make when you're starting on Maya, so I thought I'd point that out. Another thing, right now this is the Move tool. You can easily change the other tools. Rotate is E. Scale R. T doesn't do anything, and Q brings you back to the main cursor there. I think that's it for that. Yeah, I mean, there you notice the history is building up here, and if you let it build up without deleting it, it will cause Maya to slow down. So, well, there are two ways of dealing with that. There's delete by type history, which I have the tool here. I'm going to undo that. And there's also the one, I think I tend to use this one more, just because it's all-inclusive. Yeah, so if I go to Edit, Delete All by Type, History, see, you don't need to be clicked on any of the objects to use that one, and that's I feel like that's a better option in case you have a lot of objects in your scene. So that's all I have to say about that. Well, speaking of history, there's another thing I did want to go over. Windows, Settings, Preferences, yes. So, actually this is more to do with undo. Yeah. So mine is set to infinite. I mean, that's fine. You could even say 500. Finite 500. Save it. And this will take effect next time you start up Maya. I tend to go 500. That's my preference, but it doesn't matter as long as it's infinite, or I mean, even 100 would be fine if you said it's finite. But anyway, I think for the homework, yes, I'll start on that. Show you kind of what I want you to do. So I do want you to start with a cube as one of the shapes, since you'll be doing some simple shape modeling. Okay, so a new tool here. I showed you edge loop, so now this will be, what is it? I'm so used to using the tools up here, but anyway, edit mesh, extrude. I tend to, once I click that, I tend to change it to the move tool. That's just how I'm used to working it. I feel like it works better this way anyway with the tool. And then scale this in. You know, yes, it looks kind of like a house. Well, that's the idea. Kind of a house kind of shape. And then I think I'm just going to use these from now on, because yeah. So that is one way you can do your edge loops. And I'm going to go back to that tool. And if you double click that, you know, when you have the tool selected, you can have your options here. You can do equal distance, which, you know, since we're doing 2, might as well do that. Or you can even use multiple edge loops. But I'm going to see how equal distance goes. I mean, it should go as I expect it to. Oop. I hit the G key. So if you transition to the main cursor, if you hit the G key, you can go back to the tool you were using. Okay, so that was not what I meant to do. I'm going to try multiple. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, that's better. So then, since I had mentioned the extrude tool, and shift double click will allow you to select all the faces around the model that are, you know, parallel to one another. So then, let's see. Yeah, and then just scale these guys out like that. And then I want you to do the same thing for this part here with the edge tool. And extrude. In a moment, I'll show you how you add tools to your shelf. But yeah, I want you to do something like this. You can get more elaborate with it if you want, but I mean, you know what might be cool, actually? Add 2 down the middle. And I'm going to see how this goes. I mean, it should behave as I expect it to, but yeah. Do something like that. I think I'd like to see something like this from you. So that's that on that guy. But in order to add a tool, well, one way is going to mesh. Let's say you want bevel, and I mean, I would recommend adding this for tools using this method for tools you use often. And to make your own shelf, you just put new shelf. Create a name, save it. But anyway, let's say, like I said, I use, I don't know, bevel often. I believe that's already there, but Control Shift, which I think Control is Command and Mac, but see, and then you know, I don't need 2 of these. That's just an example, but it's easy to add those for tools you use often. And on to the next part, I will be creating, let's see, cylinder is what I had in mind, because it doesn't need to be that big, so I like something a bit more like that. Scale it down. And what's cool about this is you can add I do want to see subdivision caps. it'll do them on top and bottom, but I'm only worried about the top. Let's say 6. And same kind of idea here. I would say use the extrude tool, and you can just just use G. Remember that key there, and I want you to build it up like that, like a staircase, sort of. Oops. It doesn't matter if you turn on caps lock. I did that by accident, but it's not going to affect Maya. Although it is it might be kind of annoying to see that on there on the screen when you're working. So take that for what it's worth. And then I'll do these two. And then the last one inside, of course, which might be a bit of a challenge to reach, but you'll get it. I just want to make, okay, so you may find that it selects this isn't working out as a, you know what, I'm just going to have to manually do it, but you know what I could do actually? I could just change this to drag. And that's all I need, really. And then hit the G key once again. Yeah, so you know, something like this, like a staircase. I will change this back to marquee. So yeah, anything here that you need to adjust the settings for, just double click it. And then I'll add edge loops. Can I get away with this? Maybe not. Yeah, I think that's fine. Remember shift, oops. Like that. Extrude. And then I'll just scale these guys out. Oops. Yes, like that. Should these be straight? Well, I'd say for the sake of cleanliness, yes. Something like this is fine. It kind of looks like a car axle, doesn't it? I also want you to, I think for the sake of this shape, build on that. See, these are the line. I'm like, that's easy. Do I want you to add anything down the middle? No, because we already have an edge loop down the middle, and there's not much point to doing that. Okay, so once you're done with these, you should probably save, because Maya tends to crash. Well, if it crashes, it means you're working hard. I tend to save as MA, but either's fine. It will be in your Maya documents folder. So let's just say, I don't know, shape practice or something like that. Yeah. Save. Continue. Okay, so that was weird. I don't know why my tools disappeared like that. Oh. Anyway, create plane. So I do want these on a plane. You don't need to, you don't need to move it up, just scale it out. Something like that. So I do want you to come up with a composition for these. And you can increase the size of the tool by hitting the, well, plus will increase it, minus will decrease it. And I'll move this here. And you may notice, well, there's only 2 objects here. Do I need more than that? Yes. But you don't need to make any more, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment here. I'm just gonna rotate this. I mean, obviously, I expect you put more thought into this, but for the sake of time, let's say, you decide to add more objects. Well, Control D will duplicate whichever object you have selected. Something like that. I just want you to build a composition. Once you're done with your models, duplicate your meshes. Because why not do some layout? Why not get a feel for what that's like before you're doing it in college? Potentially doing it in college. That's a good idea. Yes. All right. So duplicate. I'd say 3 of each object in here. 2. Let's say between 2 and 3 of each object is good. Well, go with 3. I think that's fair. So we're not doing any lighting at this point because, well, like I said, for the sake of time. But I'll probably go over lighting at some point with this. And be sure to delete your history. Which I'm just using my tool here on my menu. And another thing I recommend, you may notice that these are no longer zeroed out. So you can do modify, freeze transform, and that'll take care of that for you. And then, yeah, once again, save it. Save often because Maya crashes. I'll just save it. Save practice. Yeah, shape practice 1. Something like that. You can overwrite your previous file. That's fine too. If you need any support with this, let me know because I know this is a new program. But like I said, I'm trying to ease it. Trying to ease you into Maya as best I can. And I expect you to do what you can with this. I figured I'd start with something simple and have fun with this. And I suggest going over some of the basics before getting into the homework because you'll have a better understanding.